Cryptozoology has a certain group of creatures that are held head and tails above the rest, pun intended. We could be talking about the ever-elusive Bigfoot and its cousins, or lake monsters like Nessie. There are certain creatures that seem to capture people's imaginations and become ingrained in popular culture. This is the story with the cryptids we are looking at in this story. Featured on national flags, found across the globe, and as popular today as they have ever been. We are talking dragons, and asking, were dragons real? What evidence is there? And we look at an actual dragon sighting. Stick around to the end of the video for some real living dragons that are found around the world. Welcome to IF, videos on history and mystery. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss a video again. Dragons have a long history, and many people hold different ideas on what they were or could still be. So what do believers in these scaly behemoths claim as evidence for their existence? A good place to start would be the differences in dragons from around the world. Not all dragons are the same in appearance and behavior. Dragons appear in just about every culture's mythology, these cultures having little or no contact with one another, yet all conceived of a very similar animal. European dragons are most commonly described as big, brutish animals. They have between 2 and 4 legs with bat-like wings. They are often fire-breathing and have an obsession with young maidens and gold. This compared to the Chinese ideas of the cryptid. The Chinese view dragons as a more magical creature. They associate them with the elements and creation itself. Unlike Western history, the dragon is often regarded as a lucky symbol. This is similar to the way the Aztecs viewed their version of a dragon named Quetzalcoatl as a god and a founder of the Aztec culture. Dragons are also found in cultures that are not so well known for their dragon mythology. The Egyptians held a sea serpent or aquatic dragon named Apep in high regard, and Native Americans have the thunderbirds and the pisa bird. If you'd like to know more on those last examples of living dragons, I have covered them in the videos linked here and here. What evidence can be used to validate the claim that dragons were real and may still be around today? An obvious explanation is the discovery of dinosaur fossils and the subsequent misidentification. In an age before scientific classification, it was often myth and legend that were used to identify a newly discovered animal or inform people on the characteristics and habits of a known animal. This often gave rise to fantastical beliefs. For example, the old tales of lemmings jumping from cliffs, to the belief that camels store water in their humps, both of which, today, we know are not true. Dragons, many say, are a natural progression of these thoughts. Each time a generation told and retold the stories of these creatures, they were gifted ever more fantastical qualities. Others are of the belief that they are real animals, extremely rare, seldom seen, and could have a very real basis in fact. Maybe dinosaurs are the solution after all. The difference coming from the idea that instead of fossils inspiring the legend, it was a living animal. There have, through history, been many reports of living dinosaurs. One of the most interesting that directly uses the word dragon for a dinosaur is from the times of Rome. The story, written by Roman historian Cassius Dio, describes how a Roman army once killed a dragon. The original fragment from Book 11 of his Roman history, now lost, was repeated by John of Damascus in his book on dragons and ghosts. It said, "One day, when Regulus, a Roman consul, was fighting against Carthage, a dragon suddenly crept up and settled behind the wall of the Roman army. The Romans killed it by order of Regulus, skinned it, and sent the hide to the Roman Senate. When the dragon's hide, as Dio says, was measured by order of the Senate, it happened to be, amazingly, 120 feet long, and the thickness was fitting to the length. The skin, like that of the original fragment from the book, seems lost to history. So what, if any, other evidence is waiting to be discovered? What bones will be found? What creatures will they be adding to the fossil records? Maybe we can find our answer in some more modern accounts of dragons. A dragon did suddenly appear, stopping traffic in a small Welsh village. Wales, of course, famously sports a dragon on its national flag. The A5, a road in the north of Wales, saw motorists gazing in wonder upon a dragon, this spectacle being 25 foot or 7.6 meters in length and boasting a 12 foot 3.6 meter wingspan. Hidden in the surrounding trees, these drivers and their passengers saw an animal baring its teeth, standing motionless in the woods. Was this some kind of forest dragon? A creature from local legend? Well, yes and no. What had happened is that a large oak branch had fallen from a tree. This branch was around 30 inches in diameter, and its location was perfect to be viewed from the nearby road. The branch had fallen onto some rocks, and the stem from which the branch had broken off curled up into a great shape and position to form a dragon resting its forelimb on the rocks. As is now obvious, we are not talking about a real living and breathing dragon, but a work of art. Chainsaw artist Simon O'Rourke was commissioned to transform the fallen branch into a dragon. Because of the size of the branch, O'Rourke says he considered carving it into a bat-like Game of Thrones dragon, but instead went with the Welsh-style dragon with 4 legs and separate wings. The oak dragon was born. For those of you who love the idea of dragons, don't be disheartened. There are some real scientifically proven animals that could be considered real living dragons. Flight is an important quality for most dragons, and we can find flying dragons today. These lizards of Southeast Asia and India are quite well camouflaged until they spread their wings. Flying dragons glide through the treetops using their colourful wing-like structures supported by their ribs. The flying dragon is no mythical monster. When threatened, the lizards can glide half the length of a football field and still swoop in for a perfect landing. Each of the 50 known flying dragon species has wings with different hues and patterns. Used to communicate and escape predators, these wing-like structures also help male flying dragons show off to females during courtship displays. The ocean hides the ruby sea dragon. This creature uses its bright red color as a camouflaging tactic in the deepest parts of the ocean where it lives. This works because red is the first color of the spectrum that gets filtered out. Underwater, these fish appear black, helping them hide from predators. This trick is most likely why they don't have the same leaf-shaped camouflage appendages of the leafy sea dragon and common or weedy sea dragon. They need them to blend in with their habitat. The next amazing animal is the blue dragon sea slug. This stunningly beautiful little creature is just 2.3 inches long and packed with surprises. They spend their lives floating on the ocean's surface, upside down, swallowing air to help them stay afloat. Another strange behavior is that the blue sea dragon sea slug steals stinging cells from jellyfish. These cells, taken from the potent stingers of the Portuguese man-o'-war. It may not be fire-breathing, but it still carries a sting. Now for a creature that does spit a substance that can be just as harmful as fire. The pink dragon millipede can release cyanide when it feels under threat. This Thai terror is thought to only live in limestone caves of the northern region of the country. The colourful arthropods' chemical defences may not cause a blaze, but they certainly burn the skin of anyone or anything foolish enough to attack. The last, and probably most obvious animal for this list is the Komodo dragon, an animal that lives up to the legend and would have no problem eating you. The 300+ pound Komodo dragon kills prey with a combination of nasty venom and lacerating teeth that force the venom rapidly into a victim's flesh. This real-life dragon has nothing to fear. No other animal can take them out, their only predators being other Komodo dragons. So it would seem that dragons are with us today. Do you think that these real-life dragons could have given rise to the dragons of legend? Or could still living dinosaurs be the answer? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like what I do here on the channel, hit that subscribe button, like and share. You can catch the latest by searching We Are If. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.